like a little pitch pipe. Okay. Well, here we are. So, good morning. Let's begin. We can tuck our thumbs into our fingers. Hands can rest on our thighs. Just taking a few moments to bring awareness to the three treasures. So feeling into the body, the alignment of the body, the weight of the body. And even just spending a few moments with the sensations of the body, like feeling the sensation of the clothes against your skin, the sensation of the joints, muscles, tendons, ligaments. The sensation of your skeleton, the bones, maybe tuning into the sensation of your finger bones and your thumb bone, or your feet bones on the ground, or your sits bones on what you're sitting on. Maybe even just, clicking your teeth together to feel the sensation of your teeth, which are very much like bone. Just feeling those different tissues, different densities of tissue in the body. And as you breathe, just inviting the breath to move through all of those tissues. And if it's hard to imagine breath moving through bone, just substitute the word qi for breath. Just feeling the qi move through all those different tissues in your body. And allow the body and different sensations and different densities of the body and the movement of breath and qi through those tissues, allow that to be the focus of the mind. Just allow that to concentrate the mind on just that for just a few moments. And I'm sure you're all aware that in our bodies we have other life forms, other bacterias and funguses and microbes. And they say that in our body, microbes outnumber our cells by 10 to 1. So we're actually more something else than we are ourselves even. So just feeling into those different tissues in the body, the qi moving through the tissues in the body, the things that are you and the things that aren't you. But in a way, are you, because you wouldn't be without them. And from there, maybe even feeling into the earth, the whole planet, as an organism that has qi moving through it and around it. And this planet is covered with microbes, including us. So just feeling all that is a part of us, all that we are a part of. Just feeling into the sensation of that. And as we breathe, we participate in that sensation, in feeling it and creating it and experiencing it. And so just concentrating the focus of our minds into the different sensations and densities and qualities of our bodies, and breathing, that has an impact. It has value and meaning. Just this. So as you're ready, you can bring your hands together and we'll warm our hands up, maintaining an awareness of our alignment, the movement of breath and qi through us and around us. In one of the earliest translations from medical Chinese into medical English, qi was translated as the configurative force. So, rubbing our hands together intentfully, aligning our bodies and breathing intentfully, focusing our minds intentfully, we are configuring the universe. That's a responsibility. So let's take a nice deep breath in, shake it out, rubbing the palms together, another nice deep breath, exhaling. And let's just gently massage our faces. And then from here, you can just move your hands up and over the scalp, either front to back or back and forth or any other kind of way. And when you're ready, your hands can slide down the back of your neck, around the base of the neck. And then a nice deep breath in, and shake it out. Let's rub our palms together. And then just a brief little gorilla pat over the chest, Either side of the sternum, you can work up and down if you'd like. Spend any extra time anywhere you feel like could use some extra time. And then we can move down onto the lower ribs, and you can open your hands if you'd like, or keep soft fists. And you can even transition into just massaging and rubbing the lower ribs, and then onto the belly, and one hand over the chest and one hand over the belly. And changing sides as you feel it's appropriate. And eventually both hands can work their way onto the abdomen and the belly, and you can massage the belly in any way that feels good. And when you're ready, the hands can come around the waist, to the lower back and the kidneys. And then we can draw the hands out, shake them out. Rub the palms together. And massaging the arms, beginning with the left arm, tapping the fingertips up the outside and down the inside. And then up one more time and down. Changing sides. Up the outside, down the inside. Noticing the body and the sensations in the different tissues of the body. Breathing. Allowing that to be the focus of the mind. Up one more time and then down. Big breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. And then we can bring our feet out in front of us. And using our hands to massage our feet. And if you can't get to your feet, you can massage your ankles or your calves or your knees or your thighs. Bringing some awareness and some energy into our legs, into our feet, into our lower body. And when you're ready, you can, if you're massaging the bottom of the foot, find the deepest hollow on the bottom of the foot, or the deepest hollow on the backside of the knee. Whether you're touching it with your fingers or just going there with your intention. And then from here, you can bring the hands up the inside of the legs and around the hips and down the outside. And up one more time, and then around and down and out. Nice deep breath in, shaking it out. Rubbing the palms together. And then as you're ready, you can tuck your thumbs back into your fingers, let your hands rest back on your thighs. Tune back into your alignment and your body and the breath moving through the body. Allowing that to be the focus of the mind. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right. Great. So, any questions about anything? No questions. All right. Well, good. So, we're going to continue on with Tai Chi as Qigong, or we can call it Taiqiong. And again, I spoke on this last week, but just with this, understanding that there are what we could call forms, the movements, the forms that we do, and then there are the principles which underlie all of those forms. And so, we use the forms to engage with the principles. Or like, I've heard it said, we eat bread to get the butter. The principles are the butter. And so, again, there are lists of principles that people have made, and there are some differences between them, some commonalities, but really, ultimately, the primary principles are yin and yang. And not only yin and yang, but then balance and harmony of yin and yang. And so, it's basically just thinking about polarity. And so if you think of anything, then there's that polar opposite. So we could say, in our form, we want to be strong. Let's just say a word, So strength is a principle. And so if strength is one end of the pole, what's the other end of the pole? We might say, the opposite of strength is weakness, maybe, but we don't necessarily want to be weak. But we can say, if there's strength, there's maybe a kind of ease or a relaxation, or if there's effort, let's say effort one side and ease on the other side. And so those are two poles, that's yin and yang. And then what is a balanced, harmonious relationship or an expression of both of those simultaneously? Can we have an easeful kind of effort? If we're really efforting and it gets stiff and hard and it's and ease is just and so what's that in between place? Where is the effort and the ease existing in balance and harmony? How does the ease kind of temper the effort so that there's some softness and roundness and spaciousness within that effort? And how does the effort keep the ease from just being too floppy, too soft, too just no substance to it, or no shape to it? So, these are just ways of thinking about these principles. And so again, this is what we're engaging with. And so we're going to learn some forms and do them in a certain kind of way. But again, it's less about, is my palm facing directly up? Is it at an angle? Does it come up the height of my face? Does it stay about the level of my chest? That, I feel, is less important than the how we're doing it. It's not what is my hand doing, but how is my hand doing what it's doing? Am I aware of what it's doing? Am I relaxed with it, but also engaged with it? So just putting that out there, this idea of this balance of form and principle, that's another yin and yang balance. How can there be harmony between these forms that we're doing and the principles that we're doing? So again, it's in this way, this is training for our minds and our bodies, and not only as we're practicing this form, but in everything that we're doing. So just a reminder about that. Okay. And so before we get into our Tai Qigong practice, I do want to go through the Padai Qigong, the padding Qigong, just the full body warm-up. We're at the other side of the autumn equinox, moving towards the winter solstice. It's getting a little cooler. Fluids are wanting to move in and down in our bodies, which can cause them to get thick and congealed and not circulate as freely and smoothly. And that can then make us susceptible to external pathogenic influences. So this is a great way to just keep the fluids circulating. All right, so let's do that, and then we'll move into our practice. Okay, so I think everybody who's on Zoom and here in person is familiar with the Padai, however it's pronounced, padding Qigong. So let's just get into it. So we'll take a moment to just, again, align the body and breathe through the body, from the crown to the feet, from the feet to the crown. Focusing the mind on the body and the breath. And let's bring our hands together and we'll warm up our palms. And the padding begins on the cheeks. We do a couple pats on the head, so pat softly while we're on our heads. 2 sets of 8 everywhere that we pat. So let's begin. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Side of the head. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Back of the head. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Top of the head. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Forehead. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Neck. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Other side. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Upper chest. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Shoulders. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Under the arm. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Hands. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Lower ribs. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Belly. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Lower back. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Glutes. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。2、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Hip creases.
一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八。Thighs， 一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八。Back of the knees， 一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八。Legs， 一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八。Inhale and exhale. 2 more big breaths. Through the whole body, with the whole body. 1 more. And just relax with your arms by your sides when you get there. One more time. Rub the palms together. We'll move through just a little quicker this time, but no hurry, no rushing. Balance and harmony between quickness and slowness. Let's begin. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八。一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二二三四五六七八，一二三四五六七八，二
One more big breath. And just take a couple minutes. Drop in, breathe deep into the body. Feel your feet on the ground, lifting the back and the top of the head up into the sky. Breathing high into the bridge of the nose and allowing the breath to, again, be driven deep into the body. Good. And if you'd like, you can just kind of bounce a little, shake it out, relax. Good. So last week we did a little bit of playing, like with a side to side, swinging of the arms side to side, which gives us an opportunity to feel the weight shift from one leg to the other, to feel how there can be looseness, like, this is pretty easy. It's like easeful. Not a lot of having to do anything. But then if we bring in a little bit of effort or a little bit of intention and just kind of letting the arms be maybe not so floppy and taking our time so that we're shifting weight, and as we shift weight towards one side, maybe that opposite foot comes up off the ground and then right back down. And so that's a way of playing with these principles in more of a side-to-side, lateral kind of way. So we can let the hands start to come back to our sides. And then we can also play front to back. So, the hands can come up and we can just let them relax. So, if you want to inhale and exhale. You can play with knee bends and how deeply you come down and up. You can go just a little, you can do more. Whatever works for you. And then we can bring a little more intention to this. Maybe not bending as deeply with the knees, but just letting the hands flow up. And as the hands come up, turn the palms upwards, or at least angled up. And as the hands move down, the palms can be down. So, very similar to our flowing motion. We can also make it to where the hands are coming up about shoulder level. And then back down to the level of the hips, and maybe just a little past the hips, not too far. And still playing with a little knee bend, so we can rise up through the legs and then just soften the knees. So we get some leg muscle engagement. There's a weight shift, but rather than side to side, it's a little bit, more towards the back of the foot, more towards the front of the foot. Slowing it down. Like turning this into a meditation. Watching the breath, harmonizing the breath with the movement. And then as the hands come down, so window side, mirror side, just let the window hand float up. And then back down. Mirror hand floats up. And then back down. Window hand. As the window hand comes down, the mirror hand floats up. And now just moving side to side. And play with the weight shift. The hand that floats up, shift towards that hand. Just feel the weight shift. Other side. Take your time. I've heard this weight shift described as like if your legs were full of water, and it's like you're pouring water from one leg into the other until it gets full, and then pouring it back into the other leg. So it doesn't happen all at once. It's a process. Take your time and just experience what this feels like. And again, with the principles, like we're efforting here. And so is there any areas that feels like you're over-efforting, starting to get a little tense, gripping a little bit even in certain muscles or joints? Is there a way to soften those, even if it means you have to change the form slightly to access the principle a little bit more? That's okay. So let's let this mirror hand float down. And then the window hand can float up. As it does, shift towards the opposite leg. So now the mirror hand is floating up and we're shifting towards the windows. So we're doing something different than we were just doing. Just playing with different sensations. Like, what does it feel like to move away from the hand that's lifting up? Feeling that weight shift. Maybe even a little bit more of a stretch across the body. Maybe the weight is more in the back of the foot as opposed to the front of the foot. Do we even remember where the weight was when we were doing it the other way, in our feet? We don't need to, so that's okay. Just something to think about. Just playing with the weight shift, playing with the harmonization of the breath. And again, as we shift our weight out of one leg, that foot can come up, and then we can place it down and lifting just as much as is comfortable. Maybe just the heel comes up, or maybe just the toes come off the ground. Maybe it's the whole foot. And then let's let the window hand come down. And again, mirror hand floats up, shift towards that foot. Now we're moving the weight towards the hand that's floating up again. And so now you can check in, like, where is the weight in your foot? Different than before, than what we were just doing. And again, you can lift the foot off the ground. How is your breathing as you're moving? And if your breath and the movement isn't harmonized, that's okay. But it may be useful to just notice your breath from time to time. And then this window hand can float down. And let's just do a couple simple flowing motions, inhaling and exhaling. Seeing if you can slow it way down. Nice, slow, easy inhalation. And a nice, long, slow exhalation. One more round. Just let the hands rest by your side. Take a couple breaths, relax. Feel your feet on the ground. Maybe lift your toes, find the 3 points of contact. Soft knees. Breathing with the whole rib cage. Letting the back and the top of the head lift you up. Lifting the skull off of the neck, which helps to then lift the neck off of the shoulders, which helps to lift the ribs off of the lumbar spine and hips, which helps you to root down through your heels. Good. So let's just review this kind of weight shift, foot pivoting that we did last week. So again, mirror side, window side. So we're going to shift towards the mirrors, which means that our window toes can come up and turn out about 45 degrees. And then we can rock towards that foot, and we can pivot, so we're angled, kind of over this foot, moving in that direction. And then we can rock back, and as we do, those toes come up. And then we turn to center and shift our weight onto this other leg, which allows the mirror toes to come up and pivot. And then we follow the angle of the foot over to the side. And then we can rock back, pivot to center, shift the weight. Toes come up. And just rocking to one side and back, pivoting. And if you'd like to use your hands, if it helps, rock forward and the hands can just float out. And then rock back and the hands follow. And then we can pivot to center, weight shift, and then out. And so really my arms are just going straight out and straight back, and then they're hanging out. And then I turn to face forward, hands aren't moving, weight shift and pivot, arms still aren't moving, and then rocking out. So even though it may look like the hands are doing some kind of circular wavy motion, they're really just moving out and moving back. And it's the rocking and the weight shift of the body that is creating any kind of flowy, rounded kind of movement. And again, it's taking these pictures and turning them into a movie. So weight shift, toes up, this is a picture. And then we rock forward, out, and we get to a picture. And then we rock back, another picture, we can pivot to center, picture, weight shift. And then over time, what we're doing is we're taking these pictures and we're turning them into a movie where it just continues to flow from one side to the other. And again, these gentle, rhythmic, rocking movements are very soothing to the nervous system. Very, not only calming and nourishing the nervous system, but really helping to support healing of the nervous system, helping to repair and to refresh and rebuild neural pathways. So just remember to take your time, get to a completion before you move on to the next thing. We can call this touching the base. It's like we want to touch this base before we move on to the next base. And again, maybe just the feet now, so we can keep our hands over our abdomens or solar plexuses, rocking back and pivot, weight shift, rocking forward, rocking back and pivot, weight shift, rocking forward, rocking back and pivot. And then we can just stand for a moment. And so, maybe even shake that out a little bit. Just relax, because that was some work. But I want you to be able to have a moment to just feel into your legs, like feel into your thighs, around your knees, maybe even around your ankles or your feet. If you feel like you've just done something with them, you just worked them out a little bit. That is a very effective leg strengthening and balance exercise that you can do without even having to move. If you're having to stand in place, you can just do that. Your feet can be close together. It doesn't have to be a wide stance, but this is a way of getting the muscles of the legs pumping, which then helps to circulate the fluids, the blood and the lymph, up against gravity, helps to keep these big muscles in the body strong and toned, and it's a mind-focused breath exercise that is very calming and relaxing to the nervous system. So this is a great tool to just have in your pocket and pull it out whenever you need. So, let's bring our feet a little closer together. I'll mirror you. Take in a nice deep breath deep into the body. exhale and sink. And as you inhale, step out in whichever direction. And then the hands can float down. And here in this position, let's just inhale the hands up and down. Whether the palms are up or down or angled out to the sides, it's up to you. Sinking as we exhale, balancing the weight in the feet one more time. This time on the exhale, bring the mirror hand underneath and hold the ball, and we've got our weight shift here. So our toes, the mirror toes, can lift and pivot, and then just shift your weight, and as you do, let this lower hand float up, the upper hand floats down. And no need to go too far. We don't have to extend out here, just here. And find this picture. We can even take a moment here, like, find your breath. Find relaxation, find balance. You might have a little more weight in this mirror leg, but you still have weight in both feet. You can reach through the outer edge of the back foot. You can press down into the front foot. You have this front arm lifting up, not all the way out, so, if you needed to push against something with this hand, you'd be able to. If you needed to push down with something with this lower hand, you'd be able to. You can still reach up and back through the back and the top of the head. Take a breath, fill up the space in your body. And then rock back. The hands are just kind of floating in between. And then as we weight shift, the lower hand picks up the ball. The window toes can come up and pivot. And then weight shift, rocking out. And again, take a moment, and not too far. Bring that front hand back just a little bit, and bring your weight back. So if you're tilting over here, come back just a little bit. So you're more up and down than reaching forward. And then rock back. Weight shift, bottom hand picks up the ball. And then toss the frisbee. Rock back, pick up the ball. Pivot, weight shift. Rock back, pivot to center, bottom hand picks up the ball. And then toss the frisbee. Rock back, pivot, pick up the ball. As you do, the window toes are up, so you're ready to go to the other side. And then rock back, pick up the ball, toes are up, and you can toss the frisbee to the other side. Rock back, pick up the ball. I'm going to turn away from you, so we're facing the same direction. So now, toss the frisbee, rock back and pivot, pick up the ball. Toss the frisbee. Rock back. Pick up the ball. So the nice thing about doing Taiqiong is there's no sequence. What if this was the only movement we were going to do? Can you explore this movement and have fun picking up the ball, tossing the frisbee across the body, rocking back, using this mirror hand to just scoop it up, and then stretch and rock back and pick up the ball. So just moving in your own way. Allow the movement to be an expression of your own creativity, an exploration of your own mobility, finding the areas of straightness and roundness in these movements, in your body. Rocking back, picking up the ball. And it's the same principle. Weight shift, rocking to one side, rock back, pivot, pick up the ball. weight shift, rock back, pivot, pick up the ball. One more on each side. Rock back, pivot, pick up the ball, toss your frisbee, rock back and pivot, pick up the ball. So here, our transition is we turn the ball over. So now our window hand is underneath, the mirror hand is on top. Let's flip it back over. Like this is just a fun movement in and of itself, you know, it's like you're holding you're holding the Tai Chi in your hands, and you're just flipping it to one side, and then turning it back over. So just play with that. Maybe you stand up a little straighter as the Tai Chi is rotating, and then you sink into it, and then flip it back around. Maybe there's even a little bit of movement through the torso, you know, the spiral from the ground up through your spine and spiraling out your arms, spiraling this Tai Chi ball, or, you know, one of my teachers likes to say it's like we're creating a portal in space, just opening up this interdimensional wormhole right in front of us. Like, how cool is that if we are doing that? So let's flip them around so that the window hand is underneath and the mirror hand is on top, and we're holding our ball. And we can orient ourselves so our feet are mostly forward, maybe out very slightly. Weight is in the window leg. And this lower hand, we're going to drop. We're going to do this really slow this time. So drop the ball with the lower hand, and the upper hand falls down to about the waist. Keep the lower hand there. The window hand floats out about shoulder level. Turn the palm down. Bend at your elbow. Bring your thumb right in the area of your chest, shoulder. And then we've got our weight in the window leg. Mirror toes can lift and pivot. And now just turn the torso and shift the weight. And as you do, this upper hand just faces up. Rock back, pivot to center, pick up the ball, and weight shift. The lower hand drops the ball. The upper hand floats down to waist level and pauses. Mirror hand shoulder level, palm down. Bend at the elbow. Window toes are up and turned out, and we just rotate with our torso and then weight shift. Rock back, picking up the ball with the lower hand, weight shift. Lower hand drops the ball. Window hand, shoulder level, bend at the elbow, palm down. And then rotate the torso, weight shift. Rock back, the lower hand is picking up the ball. Pivot to center, weight settles in the mirror side. Lower hand drops the ball, upper hand comes to the waist. Mirror hand, palm down. Elbow bends, torso turns, and we weight shift. As we rock back, the lower hand is gathering up our Tai Chi ball. We can pivot to center and then settle in the window side. The lower hand is dropping the ball, so the upper hand falls to the waist. Palm down, elbow bends, torso turns, and we can pivot on the heel and then weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball, pivot to center, weight shift towards the mirrors, dropping the ball, bending the elbow, turning the torso, weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball, pivot to center. Weight shift towards the windows. Bottom hand moves away. We've got a picture. Bending at the elbow. Picture. Turning the torso. Pivoting. Picture. Weight shift, and this upper hand, fingertips move up. Picture. Rocking back. Lower hand picks up the ball. We pivot to center. Picture. Weight shift towards the mirrors. That's a picture. Bottom hand drops away. Palm down. Bending at the elbow. Rotating. Weight shift. So taking the pictures, making a movie. Pick up the ball with the lower hand, pivot to center. Weight shift towards the windows. Drop the ball. Bend at the elbow and turn. Weight shift. Rocking back, lower hand picks up the ball, pivot to center. Weight shift, drop the ball. Bend at the elbow. Rotate. Weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball. Pivot to center. Weight shift and drop the ball. Bend at the elbow. Rotate. Weight shift. Rock back, pick up the ball. Drop the ball, weight shift. Bend at the elbow, pivot, and weight shift. Rock back. One more on each side. Drop the ball. Bend at the elbow and turn. Weight shift. Rock back, pick up the ball. Facing front. Weight shift, drop the ball. Bend at the elbow and turn. Rocking forward. Here, we're going to take our lower hand and just sweep it up and crossing the arms. So now we're here. And then let's drop. Gather everything back to center. All right. Checking in. We're doing okay? You okay? Are we okay on Zoom? Okay. Good. So again, just moving through gently. And this is another thing of these principles, you know, like when we just did this movement, which, you know, it's, I think in traditional Tai Chi, it's something like repelling the monkey. But what we're calling it is brush knee, because this lower hand's brushing the area of the knee as it comes across, and we're sending chi. And so this idea that we're moving from the center and the arms are just coming with us. And so again, if I've got my Tai Chi ball and I drop my ball, my arms, I'm facing this direction, my arms are just here. And I drop one hand away, so if I'm holding a ball and this lower hand moves, the upper hand is going to fall down. And then I'm going to let it fall to about this level. Arm comes out, palm down. I bend my elbow. These arms aren't really moving at all. What's moving, I have my toes that can be up and I can pivot. So my torso turns, and then I weight shift. And then I'm rocking back to center. Weight shift, dropping the ball away, hand to the waist, hand to the shoulder, palm down, thumb comes in, and again, arms are done moving, and the torso turns, and the weight shifts. And so that's essentially all that's happening with the arms. They're coming out, in, and across. And so it's really driven, the movement is driven by the rotation of the torso, the shifting of the weight. Rocking back, picking up the ball, dropping the ball. Torso, weight shift. And so as the pictures become more of a movie, and I let things be a little more fluid, then it might look like there's more movement that's happening than there actually is. But if we're timing the movement of the arms out and across the body with rotation and with weight shift, again, it can look like there's a lot more happening than is actually happening, but it's very principle-based, moving from the center, weight shifting, picking up the hands. So let's just do another little exercise to experience that movement from the center a little more. So we've already played with the hands moving up and down. So let's let our feet be angled out at a little angle so our knees are safe as we rotate the upper body. And, we can even put our hands like in palm to palm, fingers facing away, and just turn to one side, turn to the other side. So you can see, how the fingertips kind of are covering almost 180 degrees. Maybe not a full 180, but it's getting close. So let's rotate towards the mirrors. The hands can come out. We're going to so this is the window hand be up, the mirror hand is down. And then just come across the body. And then switch your hands. And just, arms aren't moving at all. They're straight out in front. The torso is rotating. Switch and rotate. And switch and rotate. So you can see, arms aren't really doing much of anything except up and down. It's the torso and really the feet and the legs that are driving the movement. Now if we let our elbows bend a little bit and we switch and rotate and switch with rounded arms, rounded elbows, you can see that this is the movement, watching clouds pass, that we've done so many times. So now, again, switch, rotate, switch, rotate. So now we're going to switch as we rotate. So as we rotate, the lower hand is going to come up and the upper hand is going to come down. And then switch as you rotate. And so again, the arms are just moving up and down, but because we're rotating as they're moving, it looks like they're moving at this nice angle across the body. But I'm really just lifting my lower arms straight up as I'm turning. So again, just harmonizing the switching, which hand is low and which hand is high, harmonizing that with the rotation. So as you're moving across the body, it's timed so that when you get to the other side, you're done. And then switch and rotate. One more time towards the windows, switch and rotate. Here, with the lower hand, pick up your ball. Now switch and rotate. Pick up the ball. Switch and rotate. Pick up the ball. Switch and rotate. Pick up the ball. Weight is shifted. We can lift up our window toes and turn them out, and then switch and rotate. Weight shift. Rock back and pick up the ball. Pivot to center. Weight shift. Switch and rotate. Rock back, picking up the ball, weight shift, switch and rotate. Rock back, picking up the ball, weight shift, switch and rotate. Rock back, pick up the ball, turn the ball over. Turn it back over the other way. Like, open open your interdimensional portal in space. So my mirror hand is underneath, turning. And again, just, play with these movements. Like, you can be loose and you don't have to be rigid. Your hips can swing around. The weight is in your feet in different ways. Just turn the ball back and forth over. But do it in a way, eventually, where there's intentionality in what you're doing. There's almost a connection between the upper and the lower hand, like you're holding a pole between your hands and just turning them over without losing the pole. Although the pole can get longer or shorter, depending on your needs, because it's magic. One more time, this direction. And then we'll turn the ball over so the mirror hand is underneath. And again, remember this idea of rotating. The arms are just following the body. Lower hand drops the ball. Upper hand comes to the waist. Mirror hand is palm down and bends at the elbow, and we're rotating, pivoting, and then weight shifting as the upper hand pushes. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball, pivot to center. As we let the weight settle towards the windows, that window lower hand is dropping away, bending at the elbow, and we're rotating and weight shifting. And rock back to center, pick up the ball, shifting towards the mirrors, lower hand drops away, bending at the elbow as we rotate, and then press. Lower hand picks up the ball, we pivot to center, shifting towards the windows. As we weight shift, there's momentum that allows the lower hand to just fall away. As the elbow bends, that gives momentum to start rotating the body across. And then as we weight shift, that allows the upper fingers to point up. And then we rock back and the lower hand gathers everything to center. Weight shift towards the mirrors, follow the momentum. The hand swings out. Bending at the elbow starts the rotation. And then we weight shift. Rock back to center, pick up the ball, weight shift towards the windows, drop the ball, bending at the elbow initiates the rotation, and we weight shift. From here, the lower hand is going to sweep up and cross. So now our arms are crossed in front of us. I'm mirroring you, so our mirror hand is out front. The window hand is closest to us. The hand that's closest to us is going to drop down and then just come straight out to the side. And as it comes out towards the mirrors, we have a little weight shift here. Our front hand, fingertips pointing forward. We're going to take this hand, and it's like a chop. Send it forward. As we do, there's a weight shift. And now our mirror hand is starting to move back, so we just let it drop down, and then out to the side, and then like a chop, and out to the side. And again, maybe you can see with the angle here on Zoom. So this, as I chop forward with my window hand, my torso rotates. So now my opposite shoulder is moving back, so I'm just letting that momentum draw my arm back and then out. My weight is all on this side. It's following the momentum of the arm, and then I chop, which rotates. So now the window hand is moving back and chopping. And yeah, like some of you are already doing. Follow the momentum of that hand as it swings out, so you have a weight shift. That foot can even come off the ground and chop forward. Or maybe just coming off the heel. Or maybe just shifting the weight. But we're cutting a path. I think this one is called repelling the monkey, maybe. But I learned it one time as cutting a path to clarity, and I like that. I don't want to repel monkeys. I want to cut a path to clarity. And again, can there be ease with this? Can there be soft elbows and relaxed shoulders, and the momentum of the movement is what's bringing us side to side. So it's like we don't even have to try to make our legs work hard. They just work. And then our window arm this time is going to sweep around in front, and we're back to crossed arms. And let's lift up through our elbows and open, and then come down. And then let's close towards the mirrors. Let the hands rest by your sides. Take a couple breaths. Just relax, shake it out. Take a nice deep breath in, deep in the body. As you exhale, sink. Inhale, open towards the windows. And then relax, just let the hands float down. And then 2 flowing motion type of movements. So in and out. Just find your breath and your body, find your rhythm. Slow down, in. This time when we exhale, let the mirror hand pick up the ball, shift your weight. Toes, mirror toes can lift, and then switch the hands as you rotate. Weight shift. Rocking back, the lower hand picks up the ball, and we shift the weight. Window toes are up, pivot, weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball, and weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball. Turn your ball over. Lower hand drops the ball, comes out about shoulder level. Elbow bends, and that starts the rotation and the weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball. Weight shift towards the windows. Lower hand drops away. Elbow bends, and we turn. Weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball. One more time, we'll drop the ball. Elbow bends, rotate, weight shift. The lower hand is going to sweep up and cross in front. So now we're back to center. Mirror hand is closest to us this time, so the mirror hand drops down, and sending it out to the side gives us a little weight shift, and then we cut a path, chop. That brings the window hand back, and then forward, mirror hand sweeps out, and chop, and chop. One more time, this time sweep around, and then we're going to open and settle. Good. And then just let that relax.
I noticed that you move a lot more on your hips and you move in a twist in the back. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, so someone in the class mentioned that they're noticing me moving more from my hips than from my spine. And I think that's on purpose. And I would encourage that to be how you're moving also. So again, that's where the feet, as the feet pivot, that's what's allowing the whole unit to move. So it's not that the hips are stable and we're rotating from the upper body, because that could create a couple problems. That could create some torque in our lower back. That could also create some torque in our knees. You know, if I'm moving like this and then my knees are twisting, you know, that's not so great. And so, you know, it is okay, even say if we're pivoting and we start to weight shift and this foot needs to turn a little bit, you know, if it's happening by itself, let it happen. The rule of thumb is you're never pivoting on a weighted foot. So when I'm here, my weight is here, I can pivot. As I weight shift, now my weight is here. If this foot needs to go in or out, it can, but it's not weighted. So it's okay to do that. And then yes, the feet, the angle of the feet kind of create this, I like to think of it as like the, you know, the sphere of influence. So you're always working in this frame that your feet create. And so if we're turning here, my hips aren't going beyond the angle of this foot, you know? And again, that's where it's like when I'm rotating from my hip movement, and the hip socket is moving. The hip joint is a 360-degree joint, so when you drop into it, then you have a lot more mobility than from your SI joint, which doesn't even move, and the lumbar spine isn't really designed to twist. You know, it can kind of hinge or kind of, I guess, lean, you know, forward and backwards and extend, but it's not a twisting, it's not made for that ideally. So yeah, move from the hips. and you know, taking the time to just spin in just with the feet so that you can feel what is it like to move, to allow the hips to be guiding the movement. And then, you know, so you have your hips, which are anchored through the legs. That's what's moving pretty much, you know, from the belly button or from the bottom of the ribs down. And then as we get our arms involved, that movement is more coming from my thoracic spine and my rib cage. There's a little bit of rotation there, you know, and so the hips turn. So again, arms not moving. Hips move, but then as my arms open, then there's shoulder and thoracic rotation. And so this is also part of the Tai Chi practice. Thank you for bringing this up. Is like, where are you moving from? You know, and are you moving there on purpose? So again, hips, and then shoulders and rib cage. And even here, I'm still honoring this line that's created by my foot. So if I were to come out with my hand and then come all the way over here, now suddenly I'm starting to get into my lower back and I'm off balance. You know, like my balance is not even. So I want to stay here. And so I have some room with my shoulders and my thoracic spine to give a little, there's a little give, but it's not way off here. You know, it can be front to back, it can be a little absorbing some, giving some. Yeah.
This all really protects the lower back.
Yeah, it's and this whole idea of the lower dantian or the core, you know, it's like that's where we're moving. It's a whole unit, you know, that comes from the floor of the pelvis all the way up through the diaphragm to the base of the rib cage, down the front of the abdomen. So that's the lower dantian. You know, it's actually interesting when a lot of people are talking about their backs when they say, "Oh, my back." It's really interesting if you just reframe that and say my hip. Because a lot of what we think of as the lower back is really like your hip bone. My hip bone is here. I have back pain that's like in this area. But it's more in the front. Like if you go all the way through the front of my body to the backside where the pain is, that's my hip joint. That is the hip joint. And that's why so many of us, because of chairs, we're the upper part of the lower dantian. We're not engaging the lower part of the lower dantian. And that's really what we want to do with these practices. And it allows us to drop in and get rooted, and then we're moving from there. And when you start strengthening this whole hip joint, what we might say hip area, strengthening that, you're actually going to benefit your lower back quite a bit. Yeah. So that's a little side note. Yes, but again, like really moving from the hips, adjusting the feet as needed to accommodate hip movement You know, so my foot opens, my hip can open further. It's not that, oh, this is as far as my foot is, so then I'll just twist in my lower back. And now all of a sudden, again, I'm off balance, I'm in a compromised position, it's hard to breathe even. So, you know, it's really, this is definitely a huge somatic awareness practice. Yeah. All right. Yeah, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent, but, you know. Okay, so let's move through these 3 movements again, nice and easy. Let's start from the opposite side this time. So we're going to open towards the mirrors. So we'll take a breath. Exhale and sink. And then as you inhale, open towards the mirrors. And relax. Just one breath up here. And then window hand comes underneath. So we've got our ball, weight shift, foot can pivot, and then switch the arms and rotate. Rock back, pivot to center, pick up the ball and weight shift. Pivot, rotate, rock forward, rock back, pick up the ball, weight shift. Turn the ball over. Drop the ball, bend at the elbow, rotate, weight shift. Rock back, lower hand picks up the ball, weight shift, drops the ball, elbow bend, turns the body, and we weight shift and press. Lower hand sweeps up to cross. Window hand is closer to us, so it comes down and out to the side. We've got momentum to chop. Other side. And cut a path to clarity. Cutting a path. One more time, the mirror hand sweeps around. We can open and settle. And then let's close towards the mirrors. And just stand for a moment. Let yourself drift. So with these practices, we have a nice balance of the relaxation response as well as cognitive enhancement or neuroplasticity, which is a little challenging. So we can feel both of those. You know, it's like calm, grounded, and at the same time our brains have been working. So there's like a little scramble. So just see if you can allow that activity of your brain to just drop down into the body and just feel the feet on the ground, feel the weight of the legs and the bones. Feel your pelvis and your spine. Breathe into your ribs. Lift through the back and the top of your head. Feel the length and the spread across the collarbones. And so we have 3 movements that are a nice little sequence that you can practice with, each one by itself or flowing one to the next. So we have 3, we have 6 more to go. So let's rub our palms together. Relax your stance, shake it out as needed. And then we can massage the face up and down a couple times. Back and forth over the top of the head. Down the back of the neck and around. Palms together, thumbs against the chest, dragging it down over the lower ribs and onto the belly and around the waist to the lower back. And then draw the hands out. Shake them out. Let's pat up one arm. And down. Up the other arm. And down. And around and down. Up the front. And one more time. Round and down. And up. you so much for practicing and for, creating the universe, the conformative force. All right, thanks. Have a great week. Let me know if you'd like a recording of this class, and I'll send it to you. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope it's enjoyable. Right, see you next time.